days. How's it doing over there?
Well, I'm actually in Phoenix, so it's cool down here, but some people think it's hot. It's very nice weather, really. The night highs will be upper 90s, but it's dry.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sounds good. I hope you have a swimming pool.
We do.
That's great. Always a way to cool off.
So Arne, I know you had only had a minute to answer your question. We can talk about that some more here in a bit if you want.
I've really been enjoying Arne's comments. She's really pretty good there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it some. Looks like we've got another minute, and yeah, I got 9:59. So far as a small group, I don't know. I don't know if you guys got a reminder or not. One of my assistants on maternity leave, and there's someone filling in. Did you guys get an email to remind you about the call? Is there anybody there, or am I by myself? Hello. No cameras. Now I just wonder if there's a problem. Can you guys get your camera on or not? Can anybody hear me? Now I'm concerned, you guys. Somebody talk to me. Am I not coming? Oh, there
You're
we go.
coming through. Yes.
Okay.
Here comes somebody. Matthew,
What are you doing?
Nancy.
I'm sorry, you guys. On Friday, I kind of monopolized your day.
Uh, no, that you just got to have good time blocks.
You're worth it, Denny.
Oh,
He sure is.
Well, we think he is. We'll see.
we'll see. All right. Well, I got 1 o'clock, and we will let people in as we go. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right at it. We are working, as I promised, on my recon, and I let some other people know that might be joining us today. We are working on seller management. And seller management is a lost art. Really hadn't had to do much seller management in the last couple of years because things sold before you could get the paint on the sign dried, right? So we're going to be working on the different phases of the seller management. And I'm not in my studio. I'm not going to share screen because I think it's more interesting for you guys to see interact with a video of me and others versus just a slide. So I'm going to walk you through. Welcome to Mastery, Denny Grimes Mastery Level Role Play. where we practice question-based listening enhanced conversations. This will be posted to the YouTube channel. And if you've not joined that yet and check that site out, please do. And join that if you want to be notified when we post something new. So this is what we're going to be working on today. It's Friday. I'm going to let you guys, and raise your hand if you want to participate. Most of you all do because you've been on before. Even if you're new, if you want to participate, that's fine. What I'm going to let you do is decide if you want to make a mental note or write this down. There's 4 phases. There's 4 phases of production from a listing standpoint, or even from a buyer standpoint for that matter. One is the lead generation part. That's the outbound call that you have to make. Now, again, a listing or a buyer can be an inbound call too. That's something else. So that's number 1. So if you want to work on outbound calls to get a listing appointment, we'll do that. And I'm sure that Matt will probably raise his hand for that, and maybe some others. So number 2 is, okay, so once we get the call, the goal of the call is the appointment. So then at the appointment, you're going to be able to not only have a presentation, which that'll be your presentation. We're not going to work on that today. We're going to work on potential objections at the table. All right. So that then you have to win at the table to get the listing. And then once you get the listing, before you want to make sure it's a competitive listing the best you can. We'll talk about pricing. And then on the last part of it, we'll talk about servicing the listing, etc. So there's 4 phases: the outbound call, at the table once you get the appointment so you can handle objections. The 3rd part is pricing. The 4th part is servicing. So hands up, please, if you want to participate, and we'll make this snappy around the horn, and we'll do as many as we can inside of our time here. So I don't see any hands. I see one. Mark, you're up. All right, Mark. So what I want to do is I'm just going to let somebody get warmed up in a bullpen. So I know, Matt, you want to play. Matt, why don't you be Mark? So you're going to be the agent. And so what phase of that do you want? Outbound call, objections at the table, pricing, or servicing?
Why don't we start with phase 1 and we'll sort of move through the different phases as we go through.
Okay. So you're making an outbound call. You can to get the listing. It will be an expired by owner. What do you want?
I'll do an expired.
Perfect. Matt, you are going to be the expired. Okay. And go.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call. My name is Mark Tilley with Keller Williams, and I'm calling about your property here in Sarasota, and was curious to know when you plan on putting that back on the market.
Probably not for 6 months or so.
All right. What's important to you about waiting for 6 months?
Well, we don't need to sell, and we had it on the market for 6 months, and since we don't need to sell, we're just going to take it off, wait, and see if the market gets better, or really, see what happens between now and then.
Gotcha. So I'm curious to know, I mean, you're just sort of putting your house on the market is a pretty big decision. When you did put it on the market, what were your plans?
Originally, our plans were to sell and maybe downsize or even rent for the for the foreseeable future until we really made a firm decision on where on this floating rock we wanted to be.
Okay. Well, the market is ever, always changing and shifting, and some of the buyers that weren't out there then may be out there now. Would it be worth 15, maybe 20 minutes of your time if I stop by later today? We could take a look at perhaps why your house didn't sell and see what we can do differently to help you make that downsizing and, help you move on to what you were looking at doing. Or have you completely given up on that project?
Well, I mean, I would say we've completely given up on the project for now, just because it's just not that important to us. I mean, if we don't sell it and we don't downsize, we can stay here and kind of weather the storm, as it were. So I just don't think that meeting right now would be a fruitful situation for us to do.
Okay, so I hear you that you're saying that you don't want to sell right now and you want to wait 6 months. Anything else other than that holding you back from actually going forward and putting your property back on the market?
Well, just the fact that I don't need to sell. It's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and you've got a cabinet full of toilet paper. You don't need to buy more. You know, I just don't need to sell this.
Okay. If you were to wait, it didn't sell the first time. How would it affect you if you do wait 6 months and it doesn't sell in 6 months' time again? Would that create any issues for you and your family?
You think it wouldn't sell in another 6 months?
I'm not saying, you're saying you want to wait 6 months, but, with the market the way it is right now, wouldn't it be worth at least a discussion what it would look like to put your house back on the market now? See what myself, my team can do differently to get it to sell so you can get down to downsize and, continue to move on with what your plans were?
I mean, I guess if the market gets worse, I mean, we don't want to sell it for less.
Time. All right. So I'll give you a couple things. Matt, you were playing the role. You were being patient. Awesome on that. A couple things I want you to notice as I was making notes fast. Good job. We were 30 seconds into the call. He'd already asked, I forget his first question was a motivation question. And then it's at 35 seconds. What are your plans? What were your plans if you did sell? So I like people getting to the heart of the matter very quickly, and 30 seconds is good. And let me just say, I think, now I never used this analogy before, but I think I like sports, but probably the last sport I'd like would be bull riding. I don't think I would enjoy that. However, I think calling an expired or a buy owner is like riding a bull. You've got like 6.3 seconds to make an impact. And if you do that, you might win the championship. Does that make sense to you guys? So a couple of things I want to say. You had a great line I've never heard before and it's kind of a cool thing. Hey, the buyers are kind of shifted in and out of the market. A buyer may be available now that wasn't available then. I think that's pretty creative, Mark. So I took note of that. However, you asked the question and started to, would it be worth some time? And rather than stopping, you said, or have you given up?
You gave me an out.
Yes.
That's Matt's fault because he gave me that great line the other day. And I thought it was
yeah, but you got to ask
to
it at the
use
beginning.
that.
You got to ask it at the beginning.
So,
so bad timing on that particular line, more effective at a different.
You took victory. You took defeat out of the jaws of victory on that one, or maybe I said it backwards. So go ahead. 1 second, Matt. The issue is you want to ask a question and don't. And what we do is because we're a little bit nervous, we keep running on. So I call it digging a hole. Matt, your comments.
So yeah, perfect feedback, Denny. One of my accountability partners the other day, I said, everybody looks at what I say like a caveman looking at fire for the first time. But what they don't realize is I've failed more than most people have ever tried. And I'm very, very comfortable with awkward silences. So I'll stop mid-sentence and think about what I'm going to say as long as I have that air on each side. When the worst thing you could ever do when you ask a question because you're nervous and uncomfortable with awkward silence is continue or say, or, hey, have you given up on selling? Or, no, have you completely given up on selling? Pause. First person that talks loses.
Right. It is nerves. All right. So great feedback. And hey, Louise, I made you co-host. However, one thing you'd be kind enough to do in the chat today on this Friday, we're working on seller management, and there's 4 phases. There's the outbound call. There's the pricing conversation. That's number 3. And number 4 is going to be the seller servicing when it's not selling and it's 30 days later. So there's 4 steps. I'm letting the person choose. All right. So I think, Arne, you were in quick. You had a great question earlier today. We can talk about that if you want really quick. Why don't you just ask that question? Because I didn't give it a lot of time today.
I forgot my question already.
About bringing in agents.
You asked if we should bring agents in like buyer's agents.
You have a seller. In fact, why don't we? Yes. So ask that question so we can. I'll give it a couple minutes, and I think that will be a great one for you to do. Is how do you tell the seller the truth? Because you mentioned you wanted to bring, evidently you've got a seller that's not convinced that maybe you don't know how to handle them, because you wanted to bring 4 other buyers agents in and let them give the seller an opinion, right? Arne, are you frozen?
That was my idea.
frozen.
Am I still there?
You're here now. So
Am I still there?
I think
Denny,
I think the connection's a bit wonky because you were going in and out. I think she might be.
Oh,
all right.
I turned off the camera.
I'll come back to her.
Is that better?
We can hear you.
Well, let's give it a shot. So Arne, I'm going to be the seller and I'm going to go to you have to service me. It's been 30 days. We've had no activity. What's going on?
And have we already had the analytics conversation and the?
I'm assuming you haven't told me anything yet.
Okay. Okay, Denny. So remember when we first met and I gave you the 3 outcome sheets, the 3 outcomes sheet, and went over that with you?
Vaguely.
Okay. So do you happen to have it handy?
So I think we have an issue. So how is everybody else hearing me? Arne, yeah, but hang on, Arne. Matt, are you hearing me?
I can hear you, but I think there's delay on your end as well as Arne's.
Oh no.
All right, Arne.
Irony of that is they've been closer to each other now.
Yeah, I think
they
ever are. Refreshed.
So
let me log out and log back in.
All right, going to you, Matt. What step 1, 2, 3, or 4? What do you want?
We can do a pricing conversation.
All right, that's step 3. You're at the listing. You're at the listing. And the
oh no, I'm sorry. 4 servicing.
Okay, servicing is the 4th one. Okay, so here we go. All right. It's
so
been yeah. You're calling me. That's the listing. I'm your listing. Go.
Ring ring.
Hello,
Denny. Matthew. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I've been better though.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's because the home hasn't sold.
That's exactly right. What's going on, Matt? I mean, I thought you were like such a rock star, and we're getting no activity. What's going on?
I try to be. Well, I wanted to give you the bi-monthly market activity report. So far, we've been on the market for 30 days. We've had 0 showings and no offers. Based off of the market response, it would appear that the market is not accepting of where we're positioned. What are your thoughts at this point in time?
Right. Hey, John, this may be on my end. So you catching all that? Because it might be my internet.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it. So
just keep going. You be the seller right now, and let me just make sure I've got a good connection here.
All right. So Matt, my thoughts on it is you could probably be doing better.
What does that look like to you?
What do you think it looks like, Matt? I mean, how long has the house been listed for?
We've been on the market for 30 days.
What's our goal?
Well, a properly priced home should sell in 30 days. And
that's not what I asked. I asked what our goal is. I'm pushing back on you, Matt, because that question, I would have kicked you out of my house.
Which one's that? Which one's that? What are your thoughts?
It was the one after that. It was to me, and ask Denny, I'm a real high D.
Sure.
To me, I'm like, who the hell are you talking to me that way?
Yeah, but he's your listing agent.
I know he is. I still would have kicked him out.
Well, what question though? I'm lost.
It was a second question you asked, and that's why I took over the conversation and started asking you the questions.
What was the question? I don't remember.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't.
All right,
what does it totally blew me away.
Like? All right, hang on. Let's just start over.
It totally blew me away. I'm like, did he really just ask that? So,
yeah, I don't even forgive me. I don't even know which question it was. Does somebody remember?
Go ahead,
Mark
Louise.
has the question.
So,
What was it, Louise?
oh, it's when he said there's been no buyers or sellers, and you said what would that look like to you?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, getting the home sold.
Oh, see, I didn't hear that. So I said,
and then you asked me another question, like, what are you talking about? I mean, our goal here is to get the home sold. Why are you
Sure.
still doing this? So you must have missed one of my responses.
I missed something. I think the connection's terrible. Yeah, because I heard we need to do better, and I said, what would that look like to you?
Can we just start over, guys? Let's just start over.
Yep.
It's been on the market 4 weeks. There's no showing. Matt is calling you to give you feedback or whatever. Go.
All right.
All right. And then let me preface when I call my clients, I've already sent them market analytics. So imagine you've gotten an email. You've got an email and everything. So anyhow, all right, John, I wanted to give you our bi-monthly market activity report. So we've been on the market for 30 days. We've had probably 3 showings and we've had 0 offers. So based off of the response that we're getting, it would seem that the market is not accepting of where we're positioned, and we may need to reposition in order to sell. What are your thoughts at this point?
You know, Matt, I know when we sat down to list this, we had this conversation that we would be probably chatting about this. How can I be certain that everything possible is being done? I mean, it says here that 1,000 people have seen the home on Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough?
Well, how many offers have we received so far?
Well, none, but
right. And do you recall?
There's got to be more than 1,000 people looking to buy houses in this town.
Sure. Do you recall when we originally met what we spoke about a properly priced home should expect?
Yep.
Okay. So a properly priced home, to reiterate, should expect at least 2 showings per week and 1 or multiple offers in the first 30 days.
Okay.
So how much, that aside, did you see in the email when I sent the homes that have gone to contract in the last 14 days that were similar to us?
Yeah. And, it's interesting. I'm wondering if this change has to do with what's going on with the interest rates right now.
What would make you say that?
I wouldn't want to pay 8 1/8.
Well, the four homes that went to contract in the last 28 days, what does that say?
Well, I mean, the last 28 days, the rates were 7.5. Now they've gone up almost 3/4 of a point in the last 2 weeks.
Sure. And what about what if you were a buyer and rates went up by 1/4 of a point, would you remove yourself from the market completely?
No, I'd be looking at a different house, one that I could afford.
You would be looking at a different home more than you can afford?
One that I could afford.
One that you could afford. So a little bit of buyer compression. So it sounds like our buyers are a moving target, and now buyers that could qualify for us a month ago aren't seeing us now. So maybe the buyers that were $200,000 above us will be dropping down in our market now. Well, if yesterday you could buy a Bentley and today you can only buy a Happy Meal, would you buy the Happy Meal?
Well, I don't
Oh,
think I don't think that's an apples to apples comparison, Matt. I mean, if you went from a Rolls to a Bentley.
Well, they're the same price though, roughly.
All right, that's 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. I didn't count the first one. So let's stop just for a second. Couple different things. You guys, here everyone learns from everyone's role play, and you can pipe up if you want to. Here's what I want. Here's a couple things I want you to take note of. Market not accepting. I say it kind of the same way, a little bit different. The market has said no. The market is rejecting the house. That's the kind of language you need to be using. That it's not you. It's not your company. It's the market. So next. The other thing he did, and he assumed, and this is what you need to be doing when you have your first meeting with the sellers, you win by the proper expectations. He went through, hey, you should get 2 showings and a contract inside 30 days. Normally, I don't like people that project that. However, I believe almost any price range, that's probably a reasonable expectation. So I don't take anything off. He also mentioned something that I've never heard before, buyer compression. That's kind of a cool term. It's borderline jargon, though, so make sure they understand that. And the only thing I picked up on this, and I don't know if John was being pretty direct, unlike his normal SE self sometimes when he wants to go 5 deep. The opportunity, when he said, did anybody pick up on the opportunity when he said interest rates went up to 8%? Now, again, there's been 3 showings. Now, I haven't made Matt a disciple yet of the 3 outcomes. However, that's going to be my goal in 2024. So believe me, I think it's the strongest thing you can do, but let's just set that aside. Here's what I want you to listen for. I want you to listen for opportunities. When John said the market interest rates went up to 8%, there's an opportunity there. And what's the opportunity? So let me demonstrate this, and then I'll let you guys each give your debrief on your role play. Well, John, the interest rates went up to 8%. Do you think that's a positive outcome for sellers or a negative one?
Oh, I think it's negative.
Well, then you said let's go back to our first meeting. You said you were selling because you wanted to move to the Carolinas and fish and have a cabin. Yep. Is that still your goal?
Yep.
Then if the interest rates are working against, they're not buyer friendly, what do we have to do to attract? You're a fisherman. What if the fish aren't biting? What do we have to do?
Well, it probably change the fly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if we were more attractive.
By the way, if you fly fish, that was a reference to changing the agent.
Oh, you're in a bad mood today, John. Anyway.
Oh, I'm not in a bad mood. I just got done cooking for 150 first responders. So
that's my input. I'll let you guys give some input and we'll move on. But if a seller is complaining about the interest rates, well, and you go back to motivation, if buyers are less likely to buy, then what do we have to do? We have to become more attractive, right? So
I appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I really do, because I'm conditioned to a very direct pricing approach. So conversation. So I send the information stating what's happened, how many days, how many showings, how many offers. I look at what's gone to contract in the last 14 days since we last updated. Then I look at what's on the market that are homes like us that we're competing with. I give them a whole report, and then I call them to discuss it. I appreciate the challenge in here, because this is more of we're going by the seat of our pants. And then traditionally, how I would address John's interest rate question, I find out what his thoughts are about that. And then I ask him, I said, well, understanding that the market's changing, how long are we going to stay at this price and have the home not sell? How long do you want to keep it here?
Right. John, how did you feel? What are your 2 cents? And we'll move on. Arne, we're going to go back to you. We'll see if we have a better connection.
Oh, Matt, I thought you did a great job with it. I was being tough because I know you can handle it. I hear you on the morning calls. And the only thing I would say, and Denny keeps going down the S, if you look at my disc profile, I have a negative sign next to my S. It's a vacuum. However, the asking questions is a learned trait, because my natural is extremely direct. So naturally, my natural disposition, Matt, is I'm just going to converse with you just the way you were conversing with me.
Right.
Boom, 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 done. That's not 95% of your clients. 95% of your clients want to feel comfortable about what they're doing. Comfort for me is, do the numbers work, and do I have a barn where I can build crap? That's my comfort. Simple. All right. After that, I'm not worried about anything else. My wife, different story. So
we have to be chameleons.
Exactly. So this is just a bunch of training for us getting out of our natural state. And Denny will tell you, when he's doing role play, he's always in D mode. He hasn't figured it out yet.
Well, hang on, you guys. Hang on a second. This is really good, because We have to be chameleons. Now, you notice when John's the agent, and for example, I'm the buyer seller, I'm acting in my D direct mode, and he is like, well, what's that feel like? I'm not talking about my feelings, dude. That's not the way I roll. So you got to really mirror and match. So anyway, good job. So let's go. Arne, you've been dying, been very patient. Let's go. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to flip over to see who else has got their hand up. Come on, I get some hands up. I need a seller right now. I need a seller.
Louise is a seller. Oh wait, Mark is a seller. He raised his hand first.
Pardon me?
Yeah, well, yeah. We're going to go over to Louise. Mark already played, I think. So Louise, you're the seller. And Arne is calling on the step 4 on a service call. And again, not getting any action. And then we're going to deal with the question that Arne asked earlier today about having some agents. Hey, listen, because maybe you're not comfortable with your own advice. Let's have some buyer's agents walk through the home and give the seller some feedback. And that's the time bomb. You guys will talk about it. Go, Arne.
Okay, wait, is she calling me or am I calling her?
Well,
I can call you about my home at 123 Freaky Friday Drive. Are you ready?
no,
Absolutely.
no.
Let's have a normal street, please.
Hang on a minute. You guys, I'm letting you know, do not you never get to the point where your sellers are calling you, because now you're on your heels. You better make sure that you are always ahead of them, because they're going to call you at the worst time. Now, notice when Matt went through his whole deal, he had his analytics, he had the homes on the market, all that down pat. If they call you and you're flat-footed, you're going to be in a world of hurt. However, in this time, let's say Arne did not do her job and you're a little upset. So you go ahead and call Louise.
Arne, it's Louise.
Hey, Louise, how's it going?
It's not going very well. My husband is very upset and I can't blame him. We've had our house listed with you for 3 months. I think you're a fabulous person, but maybe you're not the best agent to sell our house.
What concerns do you have that I can address?
Well, in 3 months, Arne, I don't even know that we've had 3 showings.
Okay, so remember when we sat down and I showed you the 3 outcome sheet and I asked you to keep it handy and we went over all of that?
Yes.
Do you have it with you?
I do. And I'm dusting it off because we talked about it initially, but 3 months have gone by and this is the first time you're mentioning it.
I understand. So where would you say we are in the 3 outcomes?
I think we're at outcome number 4, where we need to call your neighbor down the street.
There is an outcome 4. Yes, there is.
Okay.
You're fired. You're fired.
All right. So how many showings have you had?
Have we even had 3?
I believe you have had 3. And right. And
no offers.
And what?
No offers.
And no offers. Correct. So I would say we're in the first outcome, which is low to no showings and no offers. And what did we say about that?
You know, Arne, with all due respect, I feel like this is a conversation we probably should have had 2.5 months ago.
Yes,
absolutely.
So hey, hang on just a second here. I'm going to let you guys. I want to reset this just for a moment. If you ever get a call like this is totally on you.
100%.
There is. Listen, our microwave's on the fritz here, so the only thing we have to heat things up is an air fryer. So if you want to have a piece of pizza warmed up and you put it in the air fryer and you forget it's on, because air fryers, I mean, it's not like a microwave. I mean, you got to watch it, right? And if you let it sit in the air fryer for 3 months, it's not going to be in a very good shape by the time you go back and check it out. So the bottom line is, if you are new to this industry or new to getting listings, servicing is servicing. It's every week, sometimes multiple conversations a week, depending on how they like their eggs cooked. Now let's bring it into a realistic situation. It's been a month. And she's been talking to you. It's a month, and Louise will take the next minute and a half, and I want to get into, you don't think it's It's not the price. It's got to be something else.
Okay.
Arne, let's see if you can recover from this. A minute and a half.
All right.
Sorry, it's been a month. Rather than adjust the price, what else can you do to attract people to your home and get us some offers?
So I just want to share with you the latest analytics on how many views your homes have had, or your home has had. We have a total of approximately 1,500 views in the past week on your home. Out of 1,500, 2 or 3, or I'm going to say 3, favorited it. No one has inquired about it. So we're getting the views. It's definitely out there. People are seeing the house.
What do you think is stopping them from coming in?
So I have a question for you. What kind of feedback have you heard so far?
I haven't.
Okay.
The feedback that you shared with me is all that I'm aware of.
Okay. Would you be open to having 3 or 4 agents stop by the house and go through it and give me some accurate feedback, so I can give you some very specific, accurate feedback?
Sure. Do you think that'll get it done?
I think that will tell us exactly what step we need to take next to get this home sold.
All right. Now, you're right at 1:30. Nice timing. Way to stick the landing. Now, would anybody out there do that? And I'm no judgment.
I know an agent who does that in Seattle, Washington, but she does it at the beginning before she even opens it to the public. She conducts like a survey, if you will.
Would you please make a note? I don't always tell you to write things down unless I think they're uber important. Would you please write something down, please? It doesn't flipping matter what the agents think.
Right.
It's only worth what a buyer's going to pay for it.
The market will tell you if you're right or wrong. The agents won't. So, all right. So now you have 2 agents. So let's just dissect this a little bit. And you have 2 agents go through. Now, number one, if all the agents say it's overpriced, I'm the seller. I'm a black hat. I'm not going to trust anything until I poke at it. You basically told them to say that. I'm not going to buy it. Kind of like the elections, right? And I'm kidding. Number 2, let's say 2 agents say it's priced well. 2 agents say it's not. Then what? That's why I'm not even in favor, guys, of you guys. If a seller is uncertain about the price, if you get an appraiser, have you ever seen or heard or have any inclination that the appraiser has ever been wrong?
Yes.
Yes, you're sealing your fate. The only animal in this whole world from a selling a house standpoint that's never wrong, it's called the market animal. And there's the market only knows one word is no. It acts on yes. So if you have any inclinations about doing that, here's what would be fun to do. Why don't you, if Louise's house is listed at $595, and you're not getting any showings and she's blaming it on marketing, why don't you just have a little accident on MLS? I would love to do this. And you go in there and change the price to $295. Now, what will happen to the activity?
Oh,
It will skyrocket.
I have a suggestion. Can I reverse with Arne?
Yep.
Arne, you're welcome to be my second version, not my first version. Okay. So Arne, it's been on, so we're picking up, it's been on the market for a month. And you're asking me what we should do. Arne, I would like to implement the reverse strategy offer system that we discussed at our listing presentation. Do you remember what that was?
No, could you briefly go over that again?
Of course. So with our reverse offer system, we're going to contact all of the buyer agents who came to your home, all of the buyers who came to your home during the open house, and we're going to prepare a letter offering them a price for the home. We're going to say, Arne is so excited. We're not going to use that word. Arne is so interested in working with you that we're offering you this house at a price 2 to 3% below the list price. These are the preferred terms Renee has. We'd like your response within 48 hours. We're going to sign it and we're going to send that to every single person who's seen your house. And the next day I'm going to call them and I'm going to make sure that they've seen it. I'm going to ask them what their thoughts are. Do you know what, categorically, do you know what one of 4 responses we could expect from them are?
No, no.
So 1, they would say they're not interested. And I would say, really? Not even at $1? Would your buyer be interested at $1? And they would say no. We know that those were the people that were just looking to kill time during the open house. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to get people that are interested, but not at that price. And then we would get a counter offer. Then we have something to work with. And that would be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could alternate, like option 3 is we could get we could get someone to say yes. That would be fantastic. Why don't we just say there are 3 options?
Okay.
Do I have your permission to do that?
Have you ever done that?
I haven't, but I know someone who has. At a high level, it works very well.
John, what do you think of the idea?
I don't know. I'm kind of with you on it, Denny. And I'm still. Go ahead, Louise.
Because it's new to you. This came from a seasoned agent up north, and this is part of their system, and it works like gold.
So my answer, my simple answer on that, Louise, is test it.
Exactly.
Test it. There's zero wrong with testing anything that's new to you.
And the 4th, I'm sorry. And the 4th outcome, RNA, is if we don't get any responses, then we know we need to revisit this price, even lower than the 2 to 3%.
So we're going to move on, and here I'll tell you what, John, good advice. Here's my point, and I've been thinking about how to articulate it. In essence, what did you guys do? You lowered the price by 3%. Now, here's what I don't like about it. You got a big fat waste of time doing all that. Why don't you just lower the price 3% and open it up to every potential buyer on the market, not just the ones that walk through because they want to use the bathroom or the 3 showings you've had in the last month. Just lower the price.
Because I have that answer. Because it's, oh gosh, a mom just walked by and with her stroller and the car seat fell forward, but she was holding the baby. I didn't know that. Anyway. The reason we don't go to lower the price, usually the seller will buy into the 2 to 3% more than they will buy into a $25,000 price drop. I'm
just saying lower the price 3%.
But that's not really going to do anything. And I wouldn't want to do a 3%.
Whoa. We're going to move on because this, if it's not going to do anything to the whole market, it's not going to do anything to 3 or 4 people.
I should have said it won't do anything. But traditionally the price drop would be greater than 3%.
Yes, I got it. So we'll move on. I think
Can I add one thing?
So, hang on a second, Arne. Denny, there's 2 things that I want to polish up on Arne in particular. All right. She used the word analytics. I love that. Most people have no idea what you're talking about. They hear it as a fancy term, but they don't know what it means. They don't know where it comes from. So how about changing that to, let's go over what has happened so far.
Okay.
All right. And secondly, I cringed at the word accurate feedback for the exact reason Denny said, agent's feedback is worth nothing. It's worth nothing. Because if we knew what the house was going to sell for, we'd all be retired because we could bet on it and throw it and get the $1 billion lotto and we'd be done. So agents don't know. You might, if you want to use that tactic though, you might change it to something like this. Unbiased feedback. Accurate feedback puts your DNA and the other agents' DNAs on pricing.
Okay. I don't know if accurate was the word I wanted to use or specific, but or thorough. Just something more than to describe more than like, oh, it's priced too high.
No, I get it.
Here, let's move on, John. Here's what I want you guys to know. You're going to have to, just like a doctor has to be able to deliver accurate, unbiased information that is very suspicious. I think we need to remove it. You're going to have to learn how to have direct, frank conversations with people and be able to. It is a pricing issue, and all the other hocus pocus you can do. I mean, this is like telling your boss at dinner they've got a big piece of spinach stuck in their teeth. Can you do that with care and candor? I want you to get to the point where you can be honest with people and quit putting up all these straw men, because the bottom line is it's price. Now there's ways to do it, which that's why we're here. So who is next? What hands do we have that are coming up? What is going on with you guys today? Nobody wants to be in the drawing for a free call?
Well, these are really tough conversations to have in a transitioning market, and this is where rubber meets the road. So I commend all of you for even being willing to have them. But this is where we all need to Abraham Lincoln said, if you give him 4 hours to chop down a tree, he's going to spend the first 3 sharpening his axe. We need to sharpen our axes with this.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And you can shoot me. You can be out of care. You can, whatever you want to throw at me, I can handle it because I've practiced it enough. And the other thing, which we always say, you guys, I'm not really attached to the outcome. I mean, if they want, here's exactly what I would do. I would use an analogy going back to the situation of Louise and Arne. So let me ask you, Louise, I mean, you've been shopping before. Let's say you owned a clothing store and we're in a mall and people walk by and they see the rack of blazers out there and they walk in your store and they look at the blazers and they walk around the whatever. That's like the people on the internet that we're coming up and you know what? They're walking by a rack of blazers. Now, only 3 people pick up the blazer to try it on. Why? Because it's sitting there and the price tag's there. So what would you do as a retailer to get more action? There's plenty of traffic inside the mall. There's people buying, but only 3 people tried on the blazer. What would you do?
I'd have a sale. So to attract people, and I'd have some reduced prices.
I mean, so analogies are like a lever, you guys. If there's a lot of leverage on a story, and that's really the skill in the agent is how can you say gracefully, you've got spinach in your teeth and not cause them to feel too awkward about it.
It to kind of put a bow on it as well. So with the conversation I was having with John earlier, in that conversation, I will typically be discussing homes like us that we're competing with. And I'll say, well, John, did you see the house that's 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms with a pool on an acre? It's listed at $699. And do we have any of that? And they'll say, well, no, we don't. Right. And they're priced at $699. Say we're at $750. So can you see how if you're a buyer and you can buy that house or ours, which one would you buy? And I have those, and then I ask them, if say we're at 600 and we want to be at 550. John, if we got a cash offer tomorrow with no contingencies and they wanted to close around your schedule for 550, would you take it? Invariably, most of the time they say yes. Great. So the only offer we have to accept is a full price offer. How would you feel about repositioning to 550 and seeing how the market responds for the next 2 weeks? And guess what? If somebody offers us less than that, we can say no. And then they typically do that.
That reasoning tactic works really well. I've used that myself. It does work very well.
Well, Nancy, you don't have a hand up. David, you don't have a hand up. You guys play. I've got my, all right.
There, Sherry.
Hang on. Yeah.
Bearded
David.
Sherry.
That's my buddy David in Lehigh. All right, David. You ready? You're muted, David.
Yeah, let's go.
No, not that. No, another David. Okay. David, we can go next with you, David. All right, ready, David?
I was going to say bald David, but they're both bald.
No. David, come on. Lehigh David, let's go. Oh, I lost you.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
This has been clumsy today, hasn't it, guys?
I'm responding to Sherry today.
All right. David Beckman, let's go.
All right, what are we doing?
Well, it's 104. Outbound call, objections at the table, pricing or servicing.
Do we want to close out servicing or do we want to do something else?
That's up to you. This is Freaky Friday.
Let's go close out servicing.
All right. All right, David, listen, the house has been on the market 2 weeks. I'm a little bit upset. We're not getting any action on the home. We've had like 2 showings. What gives?
Yeah, Danny, listen, I can completely understand your frustration. Just to refresh, can we go back to our listing presentation when we sat down, we met originally, and then I handed you that sheet of paper that had the 3 outcomes on it in terms of pricing. Do you remember when we did that?
Yes.
You have that sheet handy with you?
I do.
Great. So I just want to go through it one more time, right? What was the first outcome that we had? The property receives little to no action, little to no showings.
Right.
Right? What was the second outcome of that? Property has.
Yeah, we have showings. We get activity. It doesn't sell.
That's right. Correct. And what was the third outcome?
Well, it sells, and that's what I was hoping for.
Great. And so where are we right now, Denny?
Well, I'd say we're probably outcome 2.
Outcome number 2. They're right. So the solution for that was going to be reposition the bait, small little price adjustment.
Okay. Well, we're listed at 450. Then what do you recommend?
Well, Denny,
at this point, hang on just a minute. At this point, remember that sheet is a great tool. You still have to talk about, how did you word that, John? What word did you use instead of analytics, which I thought was awesome?
Let's go over what has happened so far.
Let's go over what's happened so far.
All right. And then you're going to have a kind of a snapshot of what's gone on since then. Here's a couple new listings. These have went pending. So based on that information, okay. So now if you lay that in front of me and say, well, it's only been 2 weeks. I mean, realistically, do you think we should reposition now? David, do you think we should reposition now? I'm asking you as a seller.
Yeah, I mean, we want to get this home sold.
Hang on. If I'm asking that question, what should you do? You're gonna then go back to what? Second base, which is motivation.
So Denny, when we originally spoke, what was the reason you needed to sell in the first place?
Or you might already know. You said you wanted to be in North Carolina by Christmas, right? So what you want to do there, whenever they're asking your opinion, rather than you give them your opinion, because, hey, look, I got a car payment every month, I want you to get conditioned to go back to their motivation. Well, when did you say? You said you wanted to have this sold by December. So that doesn't give us much time, does it? See that? Well, okay, now we're at 450, and I'm going to give you now another tricky one. All right. I don't want to wait on this, so I want to get it sold. What should I lower it to? And this is a danger Will Robinson question, because you've been able to keep your fingerprints off of it up until now. Can he land it? Can he get the price reduced without putting his fingers on it?
Based on the market data, based on what I've presented to you, where do you think would be a competitive price where we should be to get this home sold and to get you to where you need to be by Christmas?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. We're 450. We're outcome 2. What do you think it's going to take to get it contract on it, David?
If you got
anyone want to go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So you're not putting your hands on it. You say, so we're at 450 right now. Well, Denny, if you got an offer for 430, what would you do?
Are you suggesting we go down to 430?
No, not at all. But let's say that we did. Is it something you would even humor, or would you ball it up and throw it in the trash and never want to hear from them again?
Well, I was hoping that maybe we would at least have a 340 number.
So, a 430?
I mean, a 440 number.
Hey, if you want 340, I'll be there in 5 minutes with a checkbook.
Oh, come on.
So yeah, I mean, so 430. So what I'm hearing you say, if we reposition to 430 tomorrow, we got 15 showings and we got multiple offers, you would probably accept something like that if it were in that range,
well,
or higher.
No, I don't feel comfortable with that because I'm afraid if I go to 430, somebody's going to offer me 420. I would rather go. I mean, I would walk. I'd be happy now. I mean, it wasn't a couple of weeks ago. 440, kind of a bottom line deal for me.
Okay. Well, the only offer you ever have to accept is a full price offer, right?
True.
How would you feel if we got multiple?
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So
what do you think that would do to the price?
What's that?
What do you think that would do to the price?
What price?
If there was multiple offers, what do you think that would do to the price?
Right. No, yeah. I forgive me. When I do these things, I'm thinking we've already discussed all this because it's what I do previously. But yeah, I mean, if we got multiple offers and created a bidding war, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, you're going to find less than that, and you'll have to underprice your houses more severely if in this market. However, what was demonstrated there, he got me talking. He took me. It might have been strategic. He took me to 430, maybe a lower number than he really thought I would probably take, but it got me to say, well, I would work at 440. So when I speak as a seller, well, I would probably do 440. What have I just done? Haven't I set kind of a peg?
You already set the bar. So now I know, and then I'm just going to keep hacking it down just to see, not to manipulate my client, but to say, okay, so what I'm hearing you say, we get an offer for 440 cash, no contingencies. They're ready to close in 3 weeks and you're off on a plane to North Carolina. You would accept that.
Right.
What about 435?
Yeah. So no, not willing to do that. However, and you can have that conversation if you want. What I want you guys to know that number came down. Then Matt's next statement would have been exactly like mine. Well, you don't have to accept anything less than full price, do you? No. Well, let's take it down to 440. And if you get anything you don't below that you don't like, you can always say no.
I think I joke with them. And I just did this yesterday, like I explained when I was on a role play, one of my clients called. And I said, well, the good news is if we reposition to 440 and we get an offer that's lower than we want, guess what my answer is going to be? And she said, well, what? No. And she laughed. And then I said, great. So you ready to make the change? And that's it.
That's exactly how you get a number. John, what are your thoughts? You're quiet. What's the matter? You still eating your brisket?
No brisket this week. It's Oktoberfest. It was bratwurst. And I might have been dreaming about beer. No,
great time to go lead generate.
I know, right? Listen, I'm on a party island and I'm a team leader, so having a cocktail with prospects is normal. So anyway, I really like the tactic about finding out what the lowest they'll take is and then getting them to reposition that way. It's there, and there are so many variations to use it. Do whatever you're comfortable with, but when you know what their number is, say, if we got this, if someone walked up today and said, here's $400,000, would you take it? Well, yes. Okay. Price it that way. What's the worst that can happen?
We say no.
You get an offer at 375 and you say no, you're right where you are now.
But at least you got something to negotiate with, right?
Yeah, you got something to work with.
Yes.
Can't lose anything. We can't lose anything we never had, right?
Right.
I've used that all 5,000 sales I've ever done. I've probably used that 4,900 times. Can't lose anything we never had. How many full price offers have you had up till today?
Yep.
Well, if anyone want to do a quick 2-minute role play before we have the drawing? We don't have many hands up today. I got JP. We've got Mark